when to start preparing for your next strategic plan. So if you have a current strategic plan and you're working your way through it, you may be looking ahead and saying, oh my goodness, this plan expires. What do we do? Here at Funding for Good, we always encourage people to think at least 18 months ahead because there's a lot that goes into creating a strategic plan. And the first is understanding, when are we going to do this? Who's going to help facilitate? And what's that going to cost? This week, we had a potential client reach out to us and say, we are going to be doing planning in fall of 2022, but we approve our budget for the 2022 fiscal year in October of this year. So we need to know, what are the cost of the strategic planning processes with you? When are those payments due, so that we can plan appropriately. And that, kudos to that organization, because they're not just thinking about what details, what benchmark data, which information do we need. They're also thinking about budgeting for the process. So if you know that you are going to be working with a facilitator that requires pay, or there are any components of your plan that's going to require payments, you need to be thinking one fiscal year ahead so that you include those line items in your budget. As far as the actual information in the planning process for your retreat or whenever that drafting session is, we always say maybe at the beginning of your final year. So if your plan expires 2022, in January, start thinking ahead and saying, what kind of information benchmarks do we need to get in place? Do we need to save the date? And start initial planning processes. Usually by the third quarter prior to wrapping up your plan, you should be at a point where you can say, here are the benchmarks for the year. Let's submit this to whoever's facilitating, whether it's outside consultant or someone in-house, and get ready for the logistics. 6 months in advance prior to the retreat is not too early to block out your dates, to make sure that you know which benchmarks are going to be expected, to review your vision and mission statement and make sure it is still current, relevant, and packs a punch so that you know that you're moving forward. Typically at Funding for Good, we have a checklist that we work through with clients, so it helps determine how much lead time will they need before their retreat. Clients that do not have large stakeholder bases often require 90 days to get ready for that retreat. Organizations that have multiple departments or maybe need to review their vision and mission statement, recraft it, maybe get it approved, might need as many as 6 to 9 months because that drafting and approval process can take time. So I encourage you to use Funding for Good's resources. We have checklists, we have lots of resources for you that you can walk through. And then using those resources, like, do we need a vision statement? Do we need a mission statement revised? Do we need to engage stakeholders? How and when are we going to engage them? That will give you a more detailed timeline of when you need to start the planning process. But look ahead. Don't wait. At least 18 months ahead, you can start thinking about your next process.